He burned my entire bloodline alive, forcing me to watch. In his past life, he gave up his divinity for a mortal woman, but that woman never loved Dyke. To help him ascend, I hid the fact that Callista had already married someone else in the mortal world. But once he ascended, he stripped me of my divinity and gave me 3,000 divine lashes. He even slaughtered my sparing not even the youngest. The carnage of my people filled my sight, yet the god of justice standing before me smiled with cold cruelty.
It was because of you that Kalita and I could not be together. This is the end you deserve.
I lost the last trace of my divine power. My consciousness faded, and the thread of fate snapped. The fate snapped my thread. I closed my eyes, waiting for the dark abyss. But then, I drew in a sharp breath. My lungs greedily sucked in air. Before I could even process that I was alive, a trembling voice broke the silence.
Lady Chloris! Word has come from the mortal realm. Coletta is to be wed. Shall we send word to the god of justice?
A servant handed me a golden wedding invitation.
Send word to him, at once.
But my goddess, the god of justice is right in the middle of his divine ascension. If he breaks the ritual now, his godhood will shatter. His very soul will be obliterated.
Did he not once swear to forsake all for that mortal woman? I merely grant the wish he once spoke of.
The servant withdrew at once. I looked up at the blinding light erupting from the peak of Olympus. I stood alone on the temple balcony. The memory of the blade remained in my chest. The cries of my slain people still rang in my ears. Dyke, this time, I will not hinder you. I shall witness your fall. From divinity into dust. You long for so-called true love above all else? Go, then, and embrace the fate you chose. Let us see how you endure what awaits you. The heavens broke with a great sound. A figure crashed to the ground before me. It was Dyke.
Where is Kalisa?
She walks the mortal realm. Your wish is granted, god of justice. Go, and pass your mortal days beside her.
I inclined my head with a calm smile. The gods were summoned. In the grand hall, Zeus sat on his throne, his face like thunder. Dyke stood in the center, bleeding out his divine essence, but he didn't care. His eyes were fixed solely upon the mortal world.
To interrupt an ascension is a blasphemy against Olympus.
I know.
And still you would choose this?
I renounce my title as the god of justice. I shall descend to the mortal world, to Callista.
Whispers ignited across the hall.
Renounce your godship for a mere mortal? Are you out of your mind?
Zeus leaned forward.
For a human woman, you will throw away everything? Even your own temple? My choice is made.
That's when I stepped out of the shadows.
Almighty Zeus.
I bowed gracefully before the throne.
My fellow gods. The Temple of Justice cannot be left abandoned. I have served within these halls for centuries. I know every law. I am ready to take up his mantle and maintain the divine order.
I agree.
A cold voice echoed from the back. It was Hades, god of the underworld.
Chloris is fair. She has settled disputes between the heavens and the underworld spoitlessly. She has my blessing. Then Olympus will not stop you. But remember this, you are now mortal. Sickness, old age, and death will be your masters. I have no regrets.
Relief seemed to settle upon him. He turned to me with disdain.
Watch over my temple, Chloris. When I have established my life below, your service shall not be forgotten.
Rest assured, Dookie. I will guard it well, and I wish nothing but happiness for you and Callista.
He shot out of the hall, plunging straight toward the mortal world. I watched him disappear. Oh, Dyke. The mortal world to which you now flee will become your Tartarus. And everything you once owned on Mount Olympus? From this day forth, it belongs to me. I stood at the pinnacle of the Temple of Justice. With a wave of my hand, I activated the scrying pool. Its surface rippled with light, projecting Dyke's every move in the mortal world. Instantly, the memories of my past life flooded my mind. Each memory returned with the fire of Tartarus. Back then, Callista grew arrogant under Dyke's protection. She tortured celestial servants and unleashed forbidden dark spirits, plunging mortal cities into chaos. I could not remain silent.
DK, you govern the realm's laws.
I pleaded.
Order must come first. Callista is breaking divine law. If you let this continue, disaster will strike.
A surge of divine power seized my throat. I was cast to the marble floor.
Chloris, you dare judge the woman I protect? Had you not hidden her marriage, she would not have strayed. You are driven by envy. You brought this upon us.
I did it to protect your ascension. I had no selfish motives.
Selfish? All Olympian knows the devotion you bear me. A hypocritical nymph, preaching to me about justice.
Sheer agony tore through my veins. He forcefully stripped my godhood away. 3,000 strikes of the divine whip. Each lash shredded my immortal flesh, keeping me in torment without end. Yet even that was not the cruelest blow. When I dragged my shattered body back to my homeland, I found a scene of utter ruin. The fires of Tartarus were raging across the fields. My people, even the youngest nymphs, were screaming in agony as their flesh charred black in the fire.
This is the price you pay.
I struggled to throw myself into the flames, but his guards pinned me to the dirt.
Please, let them go! Punish me instead!
Let them go? Did you show mercy when you stood between Callista and me?
I want you to watch them turn to ash. I want you to live in eternal regret.
Then, he grabbed me, and he drove the very weapon I gifted him straight through my heart. The scrying pool grew warm in my hands, pulling me back from the suffocating hatred. In the scrying pool, Dike had already descended into the mortal world. Reborn into the mortal world as a wealthy merchant's son, he threw a splendid wedding feast for Callista. Music and cheers echoed through the city. Callista wore a dazzling gown, soaking in the envy of the crowd. But in her eyes, there was only greed for wealth and status. No one knew the doting man beside her used to be the god of justice. I looked away and poured my entire soul into the temple of justice. Mortal disputes, divine petitions, underworld transitions. I judged them by iron law. Time passed. Slowly, altars bearing my name rose across the mortal realm. Mortals began to sing praises of my fairness. Prayers flooded in, day after day. There is only one law on Mount Olympus. From worship, power is born. With every prayer, my power surged, far surpassing what Dike ever held. Every stone pillar, every sacred scroll, every law in the Temple of Justice now carried my will. Soon, the gods only knew the name Chloris. Dike was forgotten. His glory, his reverence, his power, all of it was now mine. No one looked upon me as lesser any longer. Now, they bowed their heads and called me Chloris, Keeper of Justice. Meanwhile, in the scrying pool, Dike was sinking into the mud. His wealthy mortal father died of illness. Overnight, his fortune vanished. From luxury, Dike fell into poverty. He knew nothing of trade, worldly cunning, or the toil of mortal life.
You promised I'd be treated like a queen! Now I am left to rot in this wretched place! You cannot even provide for your own household! You are no husband, only a burden!
Dike just sat there in silence. The light in his eyes was slowly dying out. He was finally beginning to realize the true cost of the love he had called true. I stared at the broken figure reflected in the basin in the scrying pool.
This was only the beginning.
You threw away your godhood, your immortality, your sacred order. I would let you witness whether the love for which you sacrificed all things was true or merely a lie. It didn't take long. Soon, they had nothing. They were living in filth, starving just to survive. Dike swallowed his divine pride. He tried toil and backbreaking work. He failed. He failed each time. Callista's soft manner didn't just crack, it shattered. She consorted with local lords in secret, coming home in expensive silks.
I must have been Berezan to marry a fallen beggar like you! I could be clothed in gold in a lord's mansion right now! Instead, I'm left to rot in this wretched with a worthless man!
Dike's face turned bone white. For the first time, doubt clawed at his mind. I tapped my fingernail against the scrying pool. You threw away your godhood for deceit and mortal filth, Dike. This fate is of your own making. Now abide within it. He hit the lowest depth of ruin. The former god of justice was reduced to a street beggar. He was mocked, struck, and spat upon. And Callista? She didn't even hesitate. She packed her bags and strutted straight into the mansion of a local lord.
Look at what you have become!
Then, she slammed the door right in his face.
Kaltita is warming a lord's bed. She parades his humiliation through the streets. The man's mind is crumbling. And will you do nothing but watch?
This is his destiny. I shall watch.
You are truly fair, Chlorus. Even in vengeance, you haven't lifted a finger against him.
In the scrying pool, Dyke finally broke. He screamed at the heavens, blaming the world, blaming everyone except the woman who used him.
Oh, Dika, your true suffering has not yet begun. Wait until the truth at last undoes you.
The sacred wards of my temple shattered. A wretched figure stumbled through the massive doors. It was Dyke. He looked like a beast. He was covered in filth and bore no trace of his former glory. He lunged toward me, his fists shaking.
It was you! You twisted her heart against me! You poisoned Kalessa's heart! You are the author of my ruin!
I have not taken a single step in the mortal world. I have not altered your fate. I have not used a drop of magic. Do you not yet understand? Love and betrayal, such is the lot of mortals. It has nothing to do with the gods.
Liar! She said she loved me! You were driven by envy! You broke what was meant to be!
He raised his hand, desperately trying to summon his divine sword. Nothing happened. He was completely empty.
If you don't believe me, invoke Apollo. Let the god of the sun examine the threads of my fate.
Dyke didn't hesitate. He burned the last of his strength to summon Apollo.
Chlorus speaks the truth, Di. She has never touched your destiny.
That single sentence struck him like a final judgment. The violent denial in his eyes finally cracked. He couldn't hide from it anymore. He had to face the most brutal truth of all.
This is what you deserve. This is the debt you owe me.
Dyke had wholly lost his reason. He set fire to my sacred altar in the mortal world. The mortals rioted. They pelted him with stones and curses, treating him like a crazed beggar. Hades and I appeared at once. I waved my hand, snuffing out the fire.
If you still refuse to believe, then watch.
I raised the scrying pool. A massive projection illuminated the sky, revealing the truth. There, for all to see, was Callista.
Don't mention that worthless man! My biggest regret in this life was meeting him. But I would do sorely. Had Hydra burdened my fate, I would now be living in abundance.
Each word struck Dyke like a blade. He stood completely paralyzed.
No, it's impossible.
This is what you traded your godhead egg for.
I lowered the scrying pool. Watching Dyke completely lose his mind, a cold smile spread across my face. He stood completely paralyzed. His eyes blood red. Every vow, every kiss, every sacrifice he made was shattered. Like a beast driven mad, Dyke stormed the nobleman's mansion. He tore the bedroom doors open. Callista was half naked in bed, wrapped in the arms of another man. She let out a blood-curdling scream. Dyke violently tossed the ward aside. He grabbed Callista by the wrist, yanking her out of bed and right into his face.
Was it all a lie? You never loved me! From the beginning. You meant only to use me?
I do love you. You forced me. I had no choice.
So you claim.
Dyke stared at her, his voice quiet.
Then why did you say your biggest regret was meeting me?
He stared into her guilty eyes. Then, he started to laugh.
You're lying again!
Echoed through the mansion. Dyke stood completely still in the center of the chaos, drenched in crimson. He had just murdered his true love with his own two hands. Word spread through Olympus. The gods were appalled. The former god of justice had shed mortal blood by his own hand. It was the ultimate desecration of divine law. Sitting upon the throne of judgment, I listened to the report. My voice was calm, yet echoed with authority.
His guilt is undeniable. Bring him back in chains. It is time for judgment.
It was time. The blood debt from my past life. The sins of his current one. I would compel him to repay it in full. Dyke was dragged into the grand hall of Olympus, still coated in dried blood. Zeus sat high on his throne, the gods flanking him in silence.
Dika, answer to the gods. Do you confess your sins?
I confess, but I do not submit. You brought this fate upon yourself. How dare you blame Olympus? Because it belongs to me! I am the god of justice! I am the judge of Olympus! I committed one sin for love, and you cast me aside as though I were nothing? Just to worship her?
Chlorus is justice. She brought peace to the realms. She is far more worthy than you.
At last, something in him gave way. Dike threw back his head and laughed.
You want justice? If I shall not rule Olympus, then let all of this perish!
He slammed his hands into the ground, burning his very soul. He shattered the ancient chains of Tartarus. Darkness swallowed the heavens. The ground violently quaked. The ancient titans burst from the abyss. Colossal behemoths with jagged horns, bodies of molten ash, and eyes burning like the fires of Tartarus.
I shall bring all of it to ruin! I am the only true god of justice!
In an act of ultimate treason, Dike fought alongside the nightmares. He drove his blade through the innocent servants of Olympus. Hellfire rained down. Screams echoed. The sacred mountain became a place of slaughter. I slowly stood up. The throne of judgment erupted in gold light.
DK, you are wholly corrupted. You are no god.
Hades, Apollo, and every god in the hall turned to me.
Chloris. Give the order.
I looked down at the battlefield, my eyes full.
Strike down the traitors. Let justice be done.
The roaring of the titans shattered the clouds. Covered in blood, Dike stood before the rebel army, his eyes burning with madness.
I was born to rule! Who dares to stop me?
He lunged at me, burning the last of his power. He came at me in fury, but I could see the truth. He was empty. I took a single step forward. A blinding pillar of golden light exploded around me. Every spark of that fire was faith, the prayers of millions of mortals, crying out for justice.
You forgot what it means to be a god. Our power does not come from slaughter. It comes from the mortals. The very mortals you just betrayed.
My golden light shattered his darkness at once. Dike flew backward, smashing through a pillar and coughing up blood. He looked up at me.
No. My power. How?
You abandoned them, so they abandoned you. You threw away your godhood for a hollow falsehood. You are no longer worthy to bear such power.
Before he could even react, Hades and Apollo struck. Chains of shadow burst from the underworld. Chains of light pierced down from the heavens. Together, they pinned Dike to the pillar. Their leader broke in. The titans were quickly crushed. The rebellion was over. Dike collapsed in his chains, shaking uncontrollably. His pride, his madness, his obsession, all of it was completely shattered. I stared down at his hollow eyes.
Dite, you are beyond redemption.
The grand hall of Olympus was completely silent. Zeus sat on his throne.
Dike, for high treason against Olympus, the slaughter of the innocent, and unleashing the Titans, you are condemned to eternal damnation.
Bound in heavy chains, Dike looked like a corpse. He looked up at me.
Where did I go wrong?
You were the god of justice, but you abandoned your own conscience.
Zeus delivered the final sentence.
Strip him of his godhood. Cast him into the abyss of Tartarus. He shall burn in its undying flames for all eternity.
Massive underworld chains ripped Dike off the ground. He looked at me one last time. A look of regret, dragging him straight into the dark abyss. He didn't struggle. As the darkness swallowed him whole, peace finally returned to the realms. The entire pantheon of gods turned to me.
All hail Chloris, the true judge of the realms, the keeper of the divine balance.
I walked up the steps and ran my fingers across the throne of judgment. The agonizing pain of being burned alive in my past life. The destruction of my people. The despair. It all faded away into nothing. I was no longer the weak-hearted nymph I had once been. I am Chloris, the god of justice. The one the mortal world now prays to. Outside, golden sunlight poured across Olympus, bathing the temple in radiant light.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share.